न खाल पर खरोच है, न बदन पर कहीं नील, न मलहम की दरकार करता कोई जाहिर सा जख्म। लड़खड़ा के गिरता भी नहीं कि कोई हाथ बढ़ा के थाम ले, बिलबिला के रोता भी नहीं, न चीखता न चिल्लाता है, खामोश सा है ये दर्द, बस तभी पांव चला आता है। महफिलों में खुद को तन्हा पाता है, जिगरियों से मिलने से भी कतराता है, ना कह कहे लगाता ना नजरें मिलाता, बेजुबान दर्द बस खुद को खुद ही सहता चला जाता है।
So in last 6 months, I think I've gone different versions of that stress. So before we jump into this, I would like to do a very quick introduction of all the participants who have joined us here today. So let me start with Sandeep Nath. Sandeep is really an inner power coach. I think it's a term that we all need to try and understand, what is that divine power inside and how you can manifest it. I think Sandeep is the person who has helped individuals, organizations, everybody to live with less stress and more clarity about their lives. He is also an author. He speaks at various stages across the globe. His book, Arrive at Success, I think we should all buy a copy and learn. We not need to channelize our energies and look at living life stress-free. So yes, there a lot more can be said about Sandeep, and but I think it's important. It's great to have him with us today when you're talking about the subject stress. I would
Thank
also
you.
welcome Anubha Srivastav. A, uh, I'll also welcome Anubha. She is the principal of Delhi International School. Now, she is the one who's, I think, spent a lot of time with growing up children at different ages and stages. And today, a lot of conversation that we have had around in terms of how the stress, the sort of a mental, the issues are also cropping up in at a younger age. So I think Anubha should be able to throw light on terms of how students and teachers are really taking care of that stress. On the other hand, she is also a great music and poetry lover, and she has her own teenage boys. And I think a dog in the family helps relieve stress. Am I right about it? I feel
Yeah, thank you,
so much
Rahil.
that if you have one pet, it's one stress buster. So she also has a pet at home. And I think you're also you also do gardening. I think there are a lot of plants I've been told
Yes.
about you. You have a huge garden or something. So plants, I think, is another nurturing something. I think is another part of it. And I think I'll let Sandeep speak more about that. But this is a little bit of learning that we've got.
Precisely nurturing.
And then we have a representation from somebody who's living that age, who's growing. And then moving on, we have Navya here, Navya Goyal, who's like right at the age where she has seen, actually, she has seen a lot more in her age of growing up than possibly the generation before. The advent of many things, the positives as well as some things in it, they're not so great. But I think how do people her age and how do her peers, how do her classmates and friends cope up with these things? I think it's very important. Plus, the great thing about Navya and generation of her generation is they are very passionate about a lot of things. She for herself is very passionate about environment and reducing pollution. So I think it's great to have people like you in this generation taking care of things, and being vocal and active about these things. So uh, welcome about Nabya. And yes, she also has a pet, a stress buster called Stella. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
great. So yeah, that's that. Welcome about everybody. And if you are okay, we can jump in now. Is it fine? So, coming to the subject, stress, the invisible enemy. I think in different universes and different places, we were not connected to each other possibly, but at times there is some connection possibly happened. It's divine or something. We also were thinking about what to do on mental health, and team came across some great idea, and we want to kick off this with another version of saying, how there is an invisibility about these issues. And I would suggest Anup, request Anup to just run that film so that everybody can see, and then I'll come back and join the dots for everyone. Anup, if you can please help run the film.
न खाल पर खरोच है, न बदन पर कहीं नील, न मलहम की दरकार करता कोई जाहिर सा जख्म। लड़खड़ा के गिरता भी नहीं कि कोई हाथ बढ़ा के थाम ले, बिलबिला के रोता भी नहीं, न चीखता न चिल्लाता है, खामोश सा है ये दर्द, बस तभी पांव चला आता है। महफिलों में खुद को तन्हा पाता है, जिगरियों से मिलने से भी कतराता है, ना कह कहे लगाता, ना नजरें मिलाता, बेजुबान दर्द बस खुद को खुद ही सहता चला जाता है।
So yeah, I think sitting in different places, I think there's some cosmic connection happened, I guess. But Sandeep, I'd like to start with you.
Sure.
Essentially, why? What about this? What is it about this stress that really makes it? At times it is said that taking a bit of stress is also positive. It pushes you and all that. So while this is something we cannot see, this is something which is not out. We can only see some signs. How does from a motivator or a pusher or something that pushes you, it becomes an enemy? So what's it? Can you just help elaborate for everybody on that part?
Yes, Rajesh, that's a very good question. It was a very nice film actually. And why stress is invisible is because it's something like, a frog jumps into a bowl and the frog does not know that the water in the bowl is actually on the fire. Slowly the bowl starts getting hot, and when the water starts getting warm, the frog is very happy and enjoying itself, like in a warm swimming pool. But eventually, in a few minutes, before the frog is able to realize what's going on, the water is a little too hot for it. And it scrambles to the edges of the bowl, and it finds that the bowl is even hotter. Now the frog cannot jump out of the bowl. and it is not comfortable in the bowl, and eventually it dies. That, Rajesh, is what's happening to us in a way. We are the frogs in the bowl. And we have sort of got acclimatized to this notion that stress is important, stress is good, stress pushes us. But there is a good stress, which is what we take on voluntarily, and there is a bad stress, which comes to us involuntarily. We have not been taught to tell the difference between the two. We have been told by certain management gurus, I won't take names, but they actually say that look at the horse, the thoroughbred, they have to be stressed to win the race. Well, my point here, Rajesh, is that we are human beings, we are not horses. We are not the ones to get whipped. And that is why it's great that Anubha and Navya on this, because it starts with the education system and with that conditioning about stress and the inability to differentiate eustress, which is good, from distress, which is bad. And the conditioning that you've got to be stressed to work, to perform, which is not the way we were built. So we are running into this problem because we are working against our the way we were designed to run.
Absolutely, and I think I'd like to hear what Anubha and Navya actually have to say about this, because there's a root of this problem which possibly starts from our education system. And any point of view on that, Anubha, to start with you?
In fact, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It beautifully brought out the concept how a significant number of people are living with a fake smile on their face, and within themselves they are holding so much of fears, and they don't want to expose that fear. They want no one to know about those fears. At the same time, they are craving for someone who can understand them. So that is what projects them into an extreme state of inequilibrium, I would say. And see, when we talk of children, when we talk of adolescent, and as it grows to adult, there is one definite tendency that a human being has, that is to be acknowledged, to be known. And typically the adolescent try to take up the rebellion way to get that attraction towards themselves. Every age has had it. There was a bell-bottom fashion era, and so on and so on. And today we have so many other things, including that social competition of how many likes on my profile, be it Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, whatever. So that competition goes on. So what happens with children is, I take it up very seriously in my school. I try to bring up compassion and empathy in children right from nursery through various storytelling activities and webinars and discussion with the children. Because I believe it is very important to be mindful. We have one young girl with us, Navya, in grade 12. She's the best to tell us whatever we are talking here as adults, does it relate to her or not? And how does she put herself into these situations? Because unless their children realize that their expectations have to come into the equilibrium with the facts, you should be mindful what you dream of and what is coming to you, what are your potentials. These little connections have to be established. And that is when the stress will be the positive stress that will trigger you to perform, rather than the negative stress that is pushing you into a competition and then leading towards depression, which the world is facing today.
Right.
Yeah. So, of course, whatever is being talked about right now is extremely relevant to all of us. And, we're always taught that, life is full of hardships and everything. But I think sometimes even we forget that with children, we don't have to have a hard life right now. We have to, savor the moment. We have to enjoy what is being left of our childhood right now. And of course, life is hard. We have examinations, but I think the system right now is changing in somewhat a bad direction, because we're we're studying to give exams. We're not studying to learn, which is what I feel causes a lot of stress, because like I love to learn, I love to read, I love to gain more knowledge, but the thought of having to give exams about that is, you know, what adds a burden to me in my mind. And of course, right now, like there is so much of competition around us, you know, like will we score nice, will we score above 95%, and is that enough to score above 95%? So such arguments, they occupy our mind, and it's just, I mean, I think it's really sad that right now, like hardships for us are just having to compete, and like we don't, like, should we actually learn? Are we learning? So, you know, whatever we're learning right now, is that of importance to us? Will that be beneficial to us later in life? So I think that is what really causes stress to us in school right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is when it starts, and I believe it continues till at least the fag end of our working careers. You know, this race, this competitiveness, this whole, you know, some way, I think Sandeep, when you started talking about this, and we have been taught like that, and some gurus, and we all have been into some workshops and all that, that, you know, you have to win. Winning is, it's absolutely everything is loaded on your head that it's about winning. So Navya makes a great point. It's about, is it about learning and doing, or is it about running and winning? So we all eventually, I believe, become athletes in our this thing, who are being shoved, pushed steroids of leadership and everything, just to move into one direction. So Sandeep, over to you. What do you think? How can we make it more, I think, as an enjoyable learning experience, rather than a gun at your head and saying, if you're not getting 99, where are you going? So when does it end if you don't get 99? So yeah.
No, absolutely. In fact, you know, there were two very significant words that Navya and Anubha used. Anubha, in fact, was talking about mindfulness, and that is what takes us back to what actually ought to be taught. You know, if we go back to ancient wisdom, the Gurukul, the mechanism, the subjects, and like Navya said, what are we learning? You know, the subjects we're learning are of absolutely no consequence in the world we live in. And by the time we finish 12 years of learning those and another 4 years of learning those, they are increasingly irrelevant, because we would have softwares doing the things that we did. So why stress over it? Why are we not learning stuff like mindfulness? Where is the mind? How stressed is the mind getting? How do you counter stress? Because when we do that, then we will reduce the effect of stress through, like you said, Rajesh, till the end of our working lives, and till the end of our lives for that matter. Did you know, this is a piece of trivia, but there's a Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's a noted American biologist, and he's done a lot of research on this subject, and he says that 75 to 90% of the reasons why we visit a doctor are related to stress. Now think about it. If 90% of the reasons you go to a doctor are related to stress, if you can bring that stress down, then you wouldn't have to see a doctor again. Another thing, commercially, just to give you the idea of the impact it makes on business and on life, in 2018, it was reported that in the US alone, $300 billion of business was lost due to absenteeism and other stress-related issues. To give you an idea of what $300 billion is, it is 4 Reliances, 5 Indian Oils, about 16, 17 ICICI banks are lost every year, just because of something called stress, for which we have not been educated how to handle. So I think we must go back to our ancient wisdom, to our ancient roots, and incorporate that in curriculums. We don't need exams for
I
it.
think you made it. So you made an interesting point. Our team, when we were doing our own research before this to make this film, and we were trying to dig out what's happening. So a lot of secondary stuff we were trying to read out. This was very so. I'm just extrapolating it a little, but we were looking more as a various forms of mental, health issues, which are stress is one of them, depression and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. Yes, the amount of money lost because of these issues is like about GDPs of some countries. So it's the problem starts from, I think, here, and then the magnitude of it keeps on growing and growing and growing. So yes, I think it's important that we understand and then start channelizing. Anubha, over to you. I think how much do you agree, disagree? What do you think what Sandeep is saying? And also being an educator, I think it's also, there's been a lot of conversation around it that we need to start looking at our system slightly differently. But there is also another reality that remains, at least for India, there is a reality that remains that, we are a market where the stress, where we need to find jobs, there are lesser jobs, more aspirants and everything. So how do we balance? So maybe it's a longer discussion, but in a few words, if you have anything to say on that.
I agree with what Sandeep said, and in fact, Navya brought out a very beautiful point. She talked about studying for writing the exams and not studying to learn. And Sandeep taking it to the Gurukul concept, if you remember, the children used to go to Gurukul. They would learn anything and everything. The gurus would assess them whatever way, but they were not given certificates or report cards. Okay, after completing their tenure, they would come back and they would start doing their livelihood. Now, what has happened, Navya, you must try to understand this. In the process of standardization, we have started developing systems of examination and systems of assessing everything, right from your subject knowledge to your emotional skills to your discipline skills and whatnot. So it is the technology, it is the digitization, it is the rat race, I would say, which is actually putting these things into, trying to put these things into a system, and we are not bound to live by systems. Because the moment you step out of the school life of examination, the life gives you examination that you are not prepared for. So end of the day, what says with you is from the subjects and from the systems, what have you learned? How do you handle what you cannot handle? I am good in English, I do not like maths. How did I handle that imbalance? I wanted to be on stage, but there was someone else on stage who was appreciated. Although I was the best, I know there are other people, they also know that I was the best. But I didn't get a chance to go there. How do I handle? So despite writing your examination, when you step out, actually you step out learning these other significant things which are important. And here I think the role of the parents and the role of the teachers becomes very, very important in making the child understand that the world is not fair. And what you learn apparently is not the real learning. What you are learning in depth is the deeper learning that is going on with you. So not that the school is pushing you into examinations, somewhere the school is trying to prepare you for the kind of systems that you have to face in the world today. Definitely, COVID has posed situations which were unprecedented. And as you pointed out, Rajesh ji and Sandeep ji, that the economy is shaken up. People are losing jobs. I think this is a beautiful time where everyone has started reflecting on the sustainable living, which the nature was shouting, shaking us up with the climate change warnings, and we were not realizing. But now when the economic resources are constrained, automatically we have stepped back into that. And we are trying to be as miser with our resources. So that will somehow teach us to live more naturalist way. I hope, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I just not nurture a garden. I live the natural way as much as possible. The last person to go to doctor, even if I have a headache, maybe I'll have 2 extra cups of tea and I'll go out for a walk in the sun. That I believe that jadoo of the Hrithik Roshan movie, that your natural sources are the best cars.
Yes.
And you should take it out to your friends, Navya. There's a famous Hindi dialogue, Hindi Bollywood movie dialogue, tension lene ka nahi dene ka. Strike out the last line and say tension na lene ka na dene ka. Both the things, na lene ka na dene ka. And that makes the life wonderful if we all understand it. If we start appreciating the differences and accepting it. So when we celebrate this day, which is very important in today's time, I think this is the learning that we take with us. We respect each other with their positives, with their negatives, and accept, okay, you are the way you are. I am the way I am. And then the world becomes less stressful than what it is today.
Very well said.
So Navya had a lot to listen to actually now. Yeah, fantastic. Anubha, thanks a lot. And I think she has something to say. Let's not wait. Navya, please, it's all yours now.
I completely agree with
Tell
what
us actually how you guys are feeling. See, there is also, sorry, just to add, there's also, see, none of us had seen these last 6 months, how they've ever seen, experienced anything. But I think it's important to hear from you because suddenly everything changed. You guys are a little more online possibly than us, but everything changed now. So just elaborate a little bit on that experience as well. I'd like to add.
Yeah.
All yours.
So, of course, I agree with what Anubha ma'am says. Like, we learn about the deeper, basically coping mechanisms, how we have to deal with problems in life. Like, I agree with that. But, of course, the best part of going to school was interacting with people, making friends, making memories. We might not remember what is the integral of sin x, but we will remember, the mysterious times we had with our friends. So I think in the wake of this pandemic, I think, of course, we're having studies, we're having assignments, we're having tests, but the company of people, the company of people that we have to go through this with, I think that is what is causing like a slightly higher susceptibility to stress right now. But also, I mean, like I'm an introvert, like I am a proud introvert, but so of course it has also brought in new things for me. Like, I don't have to stay in social situations, anymore. Of course, we're in lockdown, so there's that. And of course, like even like high school cliques that are much prevalent right now, that is like environmental factors that go into school apart from studying are also much prevalent factors of stress right now. And the labels that we're stuck with in school, the either you're like a nerd or you're like very bad in studies. So these labels, I think they may bring out the best or the worst in us, considering the nature of these labels right now. So I think, and being a teenager, I think everyone just wants to belong to somewhere. So you kind of tend to associate yourselves with these labels as well. So that is also a major part of stress right now. But of course, coronavirus has entered our lives, and we're not stuck with these labels anymore, which is a very good thing for some of us. I've seen such an improvement in my friends also. Some of us are really coming out of our shell, while some of us are retracting because we miss other human company. And of course, like our sleep schedules are completely disrupted right now, and people are like their eyesight has weakened, and of course it's causing headaches and everything. So it has a lot of pros as well as cons. But I feel like coronavirus is now a part of our life, and we have to continue to live with it. We have to acclimatize, and there's nothing we can do about it really. Everyone has good days, everyone has bad days, and of course everyone has stress. and it's okay to have stress really. But of course, like Sandeep sir said, we have eustress and distress. So eustress is important for us to motivate ourselves, but of course we must not let all of this demotivate us and push us into a downward spiral, because ultimately this is the final year of our life, whether or of our school, sorry, whether or not we spend it in we spend it here or outside our homes. So I mean, one thing that we have, like our batch of 2021 has, that no other batch will have, is that we have a completely different experience that other 12th graders do. So I think that somewhat even makes us special in a way, because we now know what we have to do in an unprecedented situation. We know how to deal with crisis, and we know how to deal with the pressure of boards as well as a full-fledged pandemic also. So I think that has made us somewhat stronger as well.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Very, very nicely put. Very well put. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was saying very, very nicely put. Very well put, actually. See, I think it's always, sometimes you can, I think what I liked about your ending statement was sometimes you can, or rather the whole world is saying, what the hell has happened to us? But I think the way you put it and given it a positive spin, that we are the only generation, we are the only 12th graders, we are possibly the first 12th graders ever to have board pressure, school pressure, COVID pressure, and we sailed through all that. We are ready. Here we come, life. Let's take you head on. I think that's a fantastic attitude. Sandeep, sir, now
Yeah,
I think now is the time to help everybody define that, help define it for them. Now take it on. I think this little girl has given us or at least a direction.
absolutely. I loved it. I loved what you said, Navya. And what's important is that when it's coming from you, and we're looking at you representing the generation, it is the most meaningful, because you are, as a generation, building yourselves up for, I often say, this pandemic was actually a dress rehearsal. We are going to face a lot more like this. In fact, I recently released a book during in June. It's called Renewal, and it's about the renewal of human consciousness. And in the preface itself, I write this, that we have to be thankful for the COVID, because sooner or later, such viruses or such technology disasters are going to come our way in this decade. And now we know how governments respond to them, how health workers respond to them, how systems respond. And systems need to change. Like, we had to design the online education system before we were forced into it. So because we were forced, there was a lot of stress. But if we do it over 2-3 years by design and make everything online, then we will find how to use that time for better human interaction, for you to play mischief with your friends, in spite of the fact that you're not meeting them in a school environment, because there are other environments that are created to do that, and school is taken care of online, which is so efficient. For the roads, it's efficient. For the pollution, it's efficient everywhere. So renewal actually is what's going to become a movement, and you have it at renewalism.com. The book is also available on renewalism.com. But that is a book for you guys, because it talks about 30 habits that can be adopted for self-renewal, systemic renewal, and symbiotic renewal to renew the planet for the future. It's your future, and really well said. I commend you on that. One of the habits also, Anubha, is to grow your own stuff and to nurture. So I think at least in this gathering, we have 3 of the habits being carried out in the last 20 minutes itself. Good to know.
There's one more habit that has been thrusted upon by Corona, which is a beautiful thing that has happened to the society. The people were forced with the families.
Another habit, absolutely.
Which came out, initial period was a struggle for many families, but then it came out beautifully. The children helping out with the parents and each one adjusting with each other. So this is another thing that Corona has beautifully brought out. And over the past 6-7 months, with initial hiccups, now things are much settled.
Right.
So we prefer to turn around to mom, dad, younger brother, sister, brother, like to hug each other and get that physical need that we so desperately want. We are basically very social.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Anubhav. We are all energy bodies. We are actually not human beings who sometimes have a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings who are having a human experience. And when we allow our spirits to mingle with each other, that's when we get more energized. That's when we get into our peak potential, our peak performance. It is not by rote, it is not by exams, it's not by pushing ourselves unnaturally, but by mingling ourselves with the flow. So discover the flow, guys. Navya, spread the word around in school, and renewalism, be a renewalist. There you are. Awesome.
Be a renewalist, and also I think this what they say is that, you know, whether it is a positive energy or a negative energy, the energy tends to flow, energy tends to spread. And I think keep this energy, I guess, the more we are able to spread that positive energy, I think that's going to help the generations to come. And I'll get on to some one or two, there are some comments and some question I can see. And Kunal Kishore is asking a question. I'll take some of this. He's saying that you know, there are different personality types. There is one personality type which are more competitive and aggressive, which implies it's taking a little more stress. You know, so these are the kind of people you see. They're more aggressive. They are taking a little more stress, but what we see is that these are the kind of people who are successful in our definitions of success today. And then there is a sort of a easygoing, not taking much stress, and probably are not reaching that level and are being seen as underachievers. So the trade-off, I think the question is really about the trade-off. You know, high, what do you call it? The higher you go, more stress you take, higher you achieve, but you are suffering somewhere. And but you take it slightly lighter. You may not achieve that height, but you are still living a happier life. I think the question is around that balance. What do you say, Sandeep? How do you
I'd like to take
answer
that one. Kunal, it's a great question. I will ask you a counter question. If you look at the lives and if you read the autobiographies of people like Richard Branson or Bill Gates or Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or Mother Teresa, you would find that they have managed to take huge responsibilities without the kind of stress that could be expected from somebody in their position where they've got responsibilities for tens of thousands of people and tens of thousands of crores of rupees and things like that. How is that? There's only one answer to that. And that answer is that they are connected with their inner power. Like Raji said when he was introducing me, the inner power is about the strength that we have inside us. And that energy and how we connect it with universal energy, with what is, he was saying, is spiritual. Whatever you might call it a Hanuman or a Allah or a Buddha or a Jesus. But that connection, everybody, Steve Jobs talks about it, everybody who's really achieved talks about it. When you lose that connection and you're working with ego, that's when you become an A-type personality. That's when you are a thoroughbred in the race, which is not what you really want to be. You want to be the Mahatma Gandhi who's not really stressing himself out, but he's working out of compassion, Dalai Lama, and he is achieving so much more than typical A-type people. I rest my case.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody, anybody wants to add, Anuba, anything? Navya, anything you want to add to this?
So I think that nobody is purely a type A or a type B personality also. Like, people are diverse. No two people are the same. So of course, if you are motivated, you can still be calm. You can strive very hard. You can be the CEO of your company, but you might still, when you reach home, you might still like to meditate. So of course, it's not important that you have to, be a vicious person, be, an extremely driven person to be at that level. Of course, you can be, your mind can be calm, your soul can be calm. That also really helps, right? Because clarity of mind is what you need to ultimately make sound decisions.
Absolutely, Navya. And the method of doing that is seeing that you are connecting with that universal energy around you, which is a meditative process. It is various processes could be used, but the goal is that be in oneness.
And I would just like to simplify it for anyone and everyone here. The teachers have this very bad habit of picking examples. You try to relate it to, you see that there are situations in home where you kind of get an intuition, no, this is going to happen like this. That is because your energies are connected to your immediate home environment, specifically the grandmothers and the mothers in the family. They tend to know, I knew you are going to spoil your exam, and I knew you are going to get this in your grade, or I knew you were bound to come first in the exam, whatever. So that you knew because you were connected there energetically. You had your aura, you had your thoughts, you had your frequencies focused in that direction.
Yes.
That is what is all about your energy vibes. They tend to spread in the direction where you give them more emphasis on.
Absolutely agree.
Absolutely agree, and we had some kind of experience, and when we were talking and making this film, a lot of such things came up that even, and I'm extrapolating stress little to a larger thing of somewhere there are a lot of mental issues which start from this, which crop up from this. At one level, we are having one single yardstick to measure everybody's success. That itself is wrong. So there's no, possibly there can't be one single yardstick. So everybody's definition of success may be different. Right now, most of us are being, run or driven by that single yardstick. Why? Because I think there is just one preconceived thought, notion, perception that this is the only success, which I think is wrong, and which I think is something where people are people are now open to break off. Open. I won't say that we have reached anywhere. I think generations like Navya and all our teenager are looking at breaking out of that. So today, if somebody's son or daughter comes back and says, "No, I do not want to become an engineer. I want to do something else. I want to do A, B, C." We are at least open. I see that as a big positive. 15 years back, there was no question, there was no debate or discussion around it. So yeah, I think we need to break our modes, break our preconceived notions. I think the stress again. When you said started this is invisible. There are three reasons that we felt, or rather, our research threw at us that why it is invisible. And this is conversation with people, reading about it while we were making that video. It is invisible because we do not want to see it. It is invisible because we do not want to accept it. It is invisible because we have attached some sort of a stigma, some sort of a this thing. No, even if I'm stressed, even if I have some little issue, I don't have to tell it to anybody. So that's why the load, you're only adding your load. So while at a stress level, there is a little positive stress, but the moment as the water starts boiling, you're not even crying for help in this scenario. That is what possibly is making it invisible. Uh, I think a lot of people joined a little later. Are you guys okay? I thought let's show them the film and then possibly close it down. We are almost beyond our time frame. Is that okay? Anup, can you help with that, please?
Can I interrupt? I think there are 2 questions in the question answer box. I don't know whether they are directly addressed to some panelists or are they open.
I'll come back to that.
Can you see that? Okay, all right, fine.
Yeah, Anup, go ahead.
न खाल पर खरोच है, न बदन पर कहीं नील, न मलहम की दरकार करता कोई जाहिर सा जख्म। लड़खड़ा के गिरता भी नहीं कि कोई हाथ बढ़ा के थाम ले, बिलबिला के रोता भी नहीं, न चीखता न चिल्लाता है, खामोश सा है ये दर्द, बस तभी पांव चला आता है। महफिलों में खुद को तन्हा पाता है, जिगरियों से मिलने से भी कतराता है, ना कह कहे लगाता ना नजरें मिलाता, बेजुबान दर्द बस खुद को खुद ही सहता चला जाता है।
Thanks. I also got 2 more questions actually here. I thought we'll just take it before we close. So Pooja is asking really about her 7-year-old kid who has so many of these online classes, online assignments to complete. So kids are, I think, yeah, I can also relate that a lot of kids are really getting now irritated and unable. I've read it in many other contexts also that, kids who were even very good at studies are also saying, I can't just cope up with this. I don't want to do it anymore. It's like that. So is there any advice or any suggestions you would like to give Pooja?
Yeah, I have some. So I think for children, especially children that young, they don't really see studies as something serious. What they want to do is play. They want to have fun. They want to laugh all the time. But of course, they must study because school is not available, obviously, right now. So I think you can reinforce your child by through a reward system. For example, if your child studies for half an hour, you can, children love chocolate, so you can like give him or her a little chocolate, and then you can tell him or her that if you do this task, an exercise related to this what you've learned right now again, then you get another chocolate. And I also know that attention from parents is very important for little children. So if you make it a habit to play with your child, to spend time, to listen, to just probably fool around, dance with your child randomly, just, make memories with your child, they will automatically give more priority to what you're saying. They will pay more attention to what you're saying. And they will automatically listen to you more. And even sometimes what happens is that the environment in which the child is studying is not suiting. So maybe try changing that. If the child is studying in their own room, maybe try shifting it to the parents' room for like once in a while. So I think change in environment also helps a lot.
Wow.
I think that's a great suggestion. We are actually almost at the end of it. We are running out of time. We have 2-3 minutes. A very quick one-liner or two-liner for you, Sandeep. How to self-control our aggression. It's a India needs to know how to control self-aggression. I think
Yeah, I
Pankaj, you
read
have asked
that.
a question for the nation. Yeah.
Thank you, Pankaj, for that question. It's like Rajesh says, a very common problem. I used to have it myself. And there are many things you can do, but one of the fastest acting things is that the moment you find yourself getting aggressive, first congratulate yourself that you're aware of your emotions. You're not a zombie who's going through the world mindlessly. That's great. Then just since you're aware, look at it as a movie and put yourself as an observer and observe. Okay, this guy, this primary kirdar of the movie is aggressive. What is he getting aggressive about? What is causing him aggression? And break down the components of that movie. So when you're an observer, you will stop being the aggressor and you will start actually seeing the comedy of it all. So try that. And there are many other things that you could do. I, in fact, do master classes on these subjects. I'm having the next one on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. So you could probably join in there, sandeepnath.com/masterclass. But love to hear from you about that one. Thanks.
Great, great. Thanks, Sandeep. And so before we close, I think one thing I missed about, we have a Shaira in between us. And Anuva, now this is something I would like you to sort of help me wrap up this tough subject with at least one or two lines, whatever you feel appropriate. Give us a closure on this. I'll do a very sad closure. I think we need a better closure than this. So give us a few lines. She is the Shaira. Let's hear something from her.
Thank you so much, Rajeshji. Not a shaira precisely. I write more in Hindi and the typical Hindi that I'm proud of.
That's okay. We are
Connecting it to the
agnostic to
context
language.
that we are talking of. So pardon me if some of the words are alien to the newer generation, but listening to Navya today, I am so happy. You're wonderful, Navya. And that tells us that our future generations are really smarter than what we are. So I'll pick up from today's topic itself. And there's an old one which I wrote on the concept of Aham Brahmasmi. I think everyone, the listeners also are aware of this concept. It says that I am the superpower, I'm the God, not the superpower, I'm the God, I've got that godliness within me. It's a longer one, so I'll just take 4 lines. पत्थर को नतमस्तक होकर मैंने ही देवत्व दिया है, मेरे ही कर कर्मों से होनी का नवरूप बना है. And when I talk about anything and everything that we do are shaping up in the world according to our thoughts. मेरी घृणा से सृष्टि में युद्ध और मेरे प्रेम से सृष्टि में संरचना का संचार. So that's what Aham Brahmasmi is. Do you agree, Navya?
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I'm sorry
Very,
I messed
very,
up with the
very
words
nice,
because I
very
don't
nice.
tend to remember my poems, and you gave me a tough task to narrate
Sorry,
something.
sorry. Sorry, I did it without any notice.
Well, you
but,
pulled it off without any
thank you very
stress for
much.
sure, Anuba.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes. Chalo, great. I think we are already overshot time twice. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining this session. I hope people who are watching could take something out of this. And very glad we could make this session today. Thank you, Health Room. Thank you, everybody. So hope to see you guys again soon somewhere, and hope to physically meet at as and when things open. I would love to connect with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All the
everyone.
best.
Thank you.
All the best to everyone.
न खाल पर खरोच है, न बदन पर कहीं नील, न मलहम की दरकार करता कोई जाहिर सा जख्म। लड़खड़ा के गिरता भी नहीं कि कोई हाथ बढ़ा के थाम ले, बिलबिला के रोता भी नहीं, न चीखता न चिल्लाता है, खामोश सा है ये दर्द, बस तभी पांव चला आता है। महफिलों में खुद को तन्हा पाता है, जिगरियों से मिलने से भी कतराता है, ना कह कहे लगाता ना नजरें मिलाता, बेजुबान दर्द बस खुद को खुद ही सहता चला जाता है।